What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and in front of me I have the brand new MacBook Pro M4 for 2024. And this is a really exciting update, not only because of the changes to the Pro model, but also some of the bumps that the other models within the MacBook lineup have at the exact same price. And I would say it is probably the best value year for those who are looking to shop for a new MacBook with Apple's latest generation of chips, whether it is the M3 on the MacBook Air or the M4 on the MacBook Pro. So to break it down for you, this MacBook Pro is available in the 14-inch and 16-inch size in two color options, including space black and a silver. What is also new is that you have the option of a nano texture display that is seen on the iPad, but has now been carried over to the MacBook Pro lineup. On top of that, you also have a peak SDR brightness of 1000 nits, which allows you to manually increase the brightness even more. And you also, of course, have the choice of the M4, the M4 Pro, and the M4 Max chip, with the base M4 chip starting at 16 gigabytes, which is up from 8. And I feel like that is kind of like the base where most people are going to be completely fine with, whereas 8 I felt like was going to be limited for some, even if you're just a consumer or prosumer. The webcam has also been improved to a 12 megapixel center stage camera that supports desk view, and the quality is better, especially in low light conditions. I know this is not going to be a specific reason to upgrade to the new MacBook, but it is still a welcome progression. So we're going to go ahead and unbox this MacBook, show you what's inside, set it up, talk more about the improvements of the M4 chip, and also look forward to a full review. And as always, if you guys would like to stay tuned with the latest Apple coverage, as always, just make sure to go ahead and subscribe, drop a like on this video, and let me know in the comments section below if you plan to go ahead and pick up this new MacBook and which model. So this right here in front of me is the 14-inch in space black with the M4 Max processor with 48 gigabytes of unified memory and a nano texture display, which I am really excited to check out because it has been so many years since we've had the option of an anti-glare or matte option on a MacBook. I believe dating back to like the MacBook 17 and 15 way back in the day. I mean, right around when I was just starting my YouTube career. And I personally really like the 14-inch model just because it is portable, it is still extremely powerful, and just having that amount of power in a small form factor makes it even more impressive. And as someone who doesn't primarily edit on the go, I find 14-inch display is the perfect medium where I can still easily bring it around, whereas a 16-inch can be a bit bulky at times. But if it is your main computer and you don't have an additional display, then I can definitely understand going with that option. But let's go ahead and lift up the box and check it out. And of course we have the little paper wrap, and I mean there's a few accessories, so let's just take a look at those quickly. I have my matte black MagSafe charger and also the power brick. And I personally use USB-C and the MagSafe alternatingly, and so sometimes I might have one available, other times I just plug it in, but it is really nice to have the option to use MagSafe and not have to take up a port. And here, of course, we have the MacBook itself. Just gonna carefully slide it out of the frame. And I think Stealth Black was a great introduction. I personally have gone back to Starlight and Silvers, but the Space Black is actually a really good happy medium. Originally, I checked out the Midnight on the MacBook Air, and I was really excited for the Midnight, but this is actually so much better when it comes to resisting fingerprints, and it essentially takes the place of Space Gray, where it is a little bit darker, but at the same time has that punch without having all the fingerprints easily exposed. And part of that is due to the finish and also some of the improvements that they have made to the surface as well. But let's go ahead and flip it open, show you guys what the nano texture display looks like on a MacBook. And I mean, as advertised, it is able to resist all of the glare really nicely. It is etched into the display, and honestly, I think I'm gonna like this a lot. And I know sometimes texture on a display can take away from the visibility and the brightness, but now, because you're able to go up to 1000 nits in SDR, you're able to at least be able to break that barrier a bit. And so I think I'm going to be using the nano texture option. I have a big camera light, as you can see, shining on my face right here, and this just gives you a bit of a reference of how it is able to kind of smooth out the glare a little bit. So yeah, as someone who has been really split on standard display versus nano texture, I can say that this looks really, really good on a MacBook, and I absolutely love it. So now that we have the brand new M4 MacBook Pro, it is now time to start creating on it. And I'm someone who's used the MacBook for video editing for so many years now in conjunction with my desktop setup. But with Apple's latest and greatest chip, obviously something that I really wanted to take advantage of is the video editing tools that I use on a daily basis. And I want to give a huge thanks to MotionVFX for sponsoring this video. I'm someone who has used MotionVFX with my videos for as long as I could remember now, and they recently brought it all together with Design Studio, which is a one-stop shop that gives you access to over 4,000 elements and growing. And with M extension that is built into Final Cut, you can browse, download, and drag elements directly into your timeline in seconds. And especially with the new powerful MacBook Pro with the M4 Pro and the M4 Max options, this is where you'll really notice the power of MotionVFX paired with Apple's new processor by being able to render motion track text in seconds in what used to take hours and hours just a few years ago. So now we're actually in Design Studio, and I just love how well it is integrated within Final Cut. It is essentially presented in a way as if it was a built-in plugin, but with so many more customizable options that also allow you to take advantage of the tracking. And so as I'm in Design Studio right now, I'm able to just go to the top and take a look at the theme, the type, whether it is like an add-on, background, camera movement, element, text, and just starting with like the basics of typography, that is something that I struggle with quite often, and making that interesting, formatting it. And so you can see I have all the different typography elements here, and as soon as I find one that I like, I can just go ahead and download it and drag it onto my timeline, change the font, change the style, some little specifics such as the speed, the color, and the spacing, and it shows when it has the option of being trackable. And so that is also a nice feature to have. And so taking a look at the interface, not only do I have a lot of the different plugins that I already had within MotionVFX, but the Design Studio is a whole other portal that gives me access to a whole suite of the creative tools. You can choose from the Essentials plan, which gives you access to thousands of elements as well as M captions, to the Professional plan that gives you access to all the Essentials exclusive collections, such as ones designed with YouTubers such as MKBHD and iJustine, over 750 trackable elements, as well as over 100 freeze frame effects. You can go ahead and pick the package that is right for you, and if you want to go ahead and try it completely free for 14 days, go ahead and visit the link on screen or in the top link of the description section below. And a huge thanks to MotionVFX for sponsoring this video. So when it comes to the current lineup of this generation of MacBook Pro, let me break it down a bit more simply for you guys. It comes in an M4, M4 Pro, and an M4 Max configuration. It is built for Apple Intelligence, and the M4 features a 10-core CPU and a 10-core GPU with 16 gigabytes of unified memory that you can spec up to 32 gigabytes, and that supports 2 external displays. That comes in at a base price point of $1599, and that is the model that I believe is going to be the best value for the most people out there, and it's honestly a pretty good deal. As you get up in the upgrades though, obviously the price is going to increase, and at $2,000 you get an M4 Pro, and that is up to a 14-core CPU, but a 20-core GPU. And so if you're really looking at the graphic intensive tasks, that can definitely contribute to that, and in my full review I'll actually test and explain the differences as I have more time. And as you make your way up to the M4 Max, that comes in at a price point of $2,500, and you get a 16-core CPU and a 40-core GPU. It starts at 36 gigabytes of unified memory, and you can go all the way up to 128 gigabytes, and you can also spec the storage all the way up to 8 terabytes of space. So I would say when it comes to deciding which MacBook Pro is right for you, it is obviously a case-by-case situation, depending on what you need, what you're willing to spend, and also how long you plan to use it for. I would say this year more than ever, the base model is an incredible value. You get 512 gigs of storage, you get the M4, 16 gigabytes of unified memory, and it's going to be enough power even for people who do relatively large amount of graphics work. But if you're someone who is willing to spend the money considering the jump up, I would honestly go straight to the M4 Max, because you also get 1 terabyte of internal storage up from 512 in addition to the power jump. So I think you kind of have to decide whether you go with the base model, which is already very capable, or go ahead and splurge, and not only do you get a lot more GPU and a bit more CPU power, which on Geekbench cracked 4,000 in single core and over 26,000 on multi-core, but you also get that additional storage. And on the M4 Pro and the M4 Max models, you have Thunderbolt 5, which has a memory bandwidth that is up to 120 gigabits per second, up from 40 gigabits per second on Thunderbolt 4. If you're going with the MacBook Air, you've also got unified memory up to 16 gigabytes, which is really exciting at the exact same price. And so now more than ever, I will say the Apple lineup of computers, and MacBook specifically, is a great value overall. But as always, if you guys have any questions, make sure to go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below, because I plan to do a full review of this year's MacBook Pro. And if you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.